Hello everyone, this is Rice and welcome to my channel again, The Quest for Wealth. So since 2019, the property market here in the province had been on full speed. Various immigrants from in-country and international had come to the province and therefore fueled the hot housing market here in the province. When the pandemic hit in 2020, everybody thought that it will lie low, but the opposite really happened. It became even more hot. It is hotter than a Mexican taco, a proper Mexican taco being sold in New York. So you can only imagine how much the housing market had reached a certain edge or a certain pinnacle. We don't even know. Nobody knows if we had reached the pinnacle yet, and nobody knows when this market will overheat and therefore make a correction. Gone are the days that you could get a decent two-bedroom apartment for $800, $850. These days, if you go and look for an apartment for $800, $850, this is what you get. Well, at least the parking is free potentially. The problem with the housing crisis here in the province is that the locals are being priced out of the market. The locals do not have the buying power that is comparable to the people or to the buyers coming from the different provinces of the country or even from international borders. See, for example, the residents of Ontario, for example, would want to come here and buy a property here. How would a local compete with an Ontarian buyer if this Ontarian does not require inspection, if this Ontarian will buy it on the spot even without looking at the property physically, and then the offer will be over asking and payable in cash? This is something that is quite hurdle amongst the locals of New Brunswick. So what happens is that the new immigrants or the freshly landed immigrants and the locals who are here in the province are left to rent. And renting is not necessarily bad. It's not a bad thing if there is such a regulation capping the rent in New Brunswick, and there is no such regulation. The landlords have got the power to increase rent as they please. There is no regulation from the provincial government that restricts the power of the landlords to cap rent on a certain percentage. As a matter of fact, until this time, as I record this video, this is still under discussion and nothing or no law has been passed as yet. So the thing is, what happens right now is that the properties are sold. Because of the hot market, the properties or these apartment buildings are sold to a new owner, and what happens is that the new owner wants to increase the rent. And why is that the case? So because the properties are sold very, very expensively, and the only way for these owners to earn from this investment is to increase the rent. So the domino effect is that the renters will have two choices. They are given two choices, and those two choices only. Either they leave the apartment or they suck it up. They suck it up and stay in the apartment and pay the higher cost of rent. And this, therefore, is a housing crisis that is happening right now in the province. I have been viewing income properties here in Moncton predominantly, and I saw one apartment. It's a fourplex, and it's a 100-year-old fourplex. So you can only imagine the noise insulation is bad, the floor is not level, the amenities are I don't know. I cannot imagine how the renters of that building live there. The basement is a perfect scene for a horror movie. Actually, that basement haunted me on my sleep that night when I visited that apartment. It was really bad. It was being sold in such horrendous conditions at $330,000. And the agent, right before he showed me the property, told me right off the bat, even before opening the door of the apartment, he told me that the seller is not negotiating the cost or the selling price of the property right off the bat, even before I stepped inside the property. And such is the case in the conditions that we are in right now. I would not be surprised if that property was sold on the asking or even asking price. Now, that property was on calculation, it was a $500 net profit, everything deducted, mortgage, miscellaneous and everything else. So that's net profit $500 a month. Now, the only way for the buyer to earn from it, because $500 is really nothing, the only way for the buyers to increase the net profit is to increase the rent. And therefore, the renters will have to suck it up or leave. And if that is the case with every single property being sold here or being rented out here in the province, what happens to the renters? Now, New Brunswick saw the highest increase of rent from March 2020 to March 2021 in the whole of Canada at a rate of 4.8%. Now, the provincial and the federal government has come up with a program which is a support for rental cost of low-income family in the province, and this announcement was made back in April 2021. And the support will consist of a short-term benefit averaging between $300 to $475 per month, depending on household income, composition, and location. Now, to be informed on your eligibility, you have to call the Department of Social Development. As I record this video, there had been no regulation approved regarding the capping the rent here in the province. This is a serious issue here because if renters are not provided with proper housing, how is the province going to grow? Where is the population going? The people will leave the country or the province. People will leave the province, and these people are the fuel of the province. They are the ones who pay the mortgage. They are the ones who buy commodities. They are the ones who pay taxes, and so on and so forth. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the bitter truth of the reality here in New Brunswick. Unfortunately, there's no good news yet when it comes to rent. As I record this video, there had been hard times when it comes to locking in a contract for a certain apartment REIT. If you are a returning subscriber or you are a new subscriber, thank you very much for watching this video. Please do not forget to share, like, and comment if there